Actually, I was not there when the typhoon happened. I was in Jerusalem, and the first time I saw the footage of the destruction of our church was in I was in Galilee at that time, and actually I really cried. I shed tears the first time I saw it, but it was not really unexpected because historically I know that it was not the first time that the church was rendered roofless. Yeah. On October 8, 1897, there was also a big storm, and the whole roof of the church fell.
The whole roof only?
Yeah, the whole roof. And the half of the belfry also fell. And that time, I think during the Spanish period, that was the biggest storm ever. In fact, in Giwan alone, I scanned through the records of baptism. I found out that there were around 80 people who were buried the following day. No, the following day. And there were about 500 casualties in the southern region of Samar. In fact, in Giwan at that time, only one structure stood, the church. All the houses were flattened. Yeah. So I was not really, for me, it was not really a complete surprise that the church would be destroyed. Secondly, I believe that the structure of the church was weakened. The structure itself was weakened during the earthquake last year. And the storm was actually a coup de grace.
So were you a part of the decision not to make the church available for refuge?
Yes. Even at the time, I already said that this church should not be made into an evacuation center, because I know from history that once a big storm comes, it will really be destroyed.
Did you say 1897?
1897, more than 100 years.
I think it also hit Tacloban, right?
Yeah,
Accidentally.
yeah, it hit Tacloban and all the southern towns. In fact, it was also the storm that hit Hernani. That is why the whole town of Hernani was transferred to its present place because of that storm, big storm. So it is really a deja vu, a repeat performance. So I was not really surprised.
But when you actually saw the damage when you came home, the same thing?
It's the same thing. It was not a surprise to me.
Where did you get it from? CNN?
From BBC.
From BBC.
From BBC.
They were a little more detailed, right?
Yeah. I saw the first footage from the BBC.
So right now, how are you and the people coping?
Well, you see, and the primary needs of the people centered on food. However, I think we have passed that stage, and they are now in the rehabilitation stage. What they need really is, first of all, to rehabilitate their houses and also their occupation.
From what I've been hearing, people, especially foreigners, are surprised by the reaction of Giwananons to the disaster. Foreigners are especially surprised why they can still afford to laugh and things like that. So what do you say about that?
Well, I think that is the nature of the Samaritano. They are really capable laughter. Even in the midst of distress and in the midst of catastrophe, they can still laugh. That's the Samaritano way of life.
Would you say it was also their way of coping with?
Oh, of course, of course. Laughter is a way of coping our problems.
From the point of view of faith, what can you say about it?
Well, from the point of view of faith, I have been telling them that this is not a punishment from God. This is not. God is good. Everything that comes from God is always good. If this storm happened, it is simply because of the imperfection of the world. The world is not perfect. Creation is not perfect. That's the way it is. So, and it doesn't choose whether you are bad or good. It just happens.
We have an international audience, Msgr Lope. Would you like to say something?
Well, all I can say today is, since they are now in the stage of rehabilitating their lives, I think focus should be made on their how to help them rise, especially by giving them the means to support themselves. But first of all, I think they need housing.